receive.
And thank you. You guys are great. You know, and I have to say, you do all look beautiful. That's the thing about being in Science of Mind, is that we start looking beautiful after you've been in it. I'm serious. It's better than a facelift. So it is my pleasure to introduce Reverend Mike McMorrow after being gone for a week. Did you miss him? I missed him.
Thank you. No. I put that there to hold your arm up. Oh, you don't need it now? All right, okay. Not that you can't hold up 8 ounces at a time, but... All right, good morning. Yeah. Let's see if I can see this without, yeah. So, you know, it's great to be back in good old California. I was out this past week in Salt Lake City for the leadership convention for Centers for Spiritual Living. And so I wanted to give you a little report on that, as well as go into the message this morning, and they actually tie in pretty well, I think, because Dr. Ken Gordon, our spiritual leader, was there, and so I'll be sharing some of his words of wisdom. So it's great to be back, and it's nice and warm, and it feels like a spring day, yeah? The orange blossoms are in the air. Yeah, springtime in February, there's nothing like it. But you know what? It's really great to be in Salt Lake City, too. It's a great town if you haven't been there. Well, if you're a carnivore, it's a great town. I don't think they have any vegetables in that town. But there's lots of meat and potatoes and a few fishes. But it was nice to experience winter, like 25 degrees winter. Yeah. And to wear clothes. Right? So I got to wear some sweaters and things like that we don't usually get to wear here. So I went this year with a deep appreciation. I went to Salt Lake City, I should say, with a deep appreciation that this year I had work to do while I was there, that I was now part of a larger organization, and that I was going there being supported by my home community, this Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills. And a center that is committed to supporting me on such trips. And through the board and the practitioners, and by many of you as lay people, encouraging me to stretch a bit in this position that I hold as the spiritual director. So, going to Salt Lake, so this convention, it moves around. So we've had them in New Orleans. Yeah, it sounds like it went the way it sounds. New Orleans, Las Vegas, the most spiritual places in North America. Orlando, Florida, this year at Salt Lake City, which was kind of cool because I was there earlier, if you remember, earlier in the year for the Parliament of World Religions. And so to me, it was had already set kind of a nice vibe for me. And you know what? People of faith live there, right? So the LDS practice is alive and well, beautiful temples and so forth. And although it's not my cup of tea, I appreciate what people of faith and of spiritual communities can do together, right? And so there's an inspiration there. What can we accomplish with this teaching? Right? So we come to, for those of us who come from denominations where our Sunday service might fit in the choir loft, right? Maybe we lose touch with the fact that we really are a mighty group because we play in the field of consciousness. And consciousness is not bound by anything except, as Reverend Jessica said, except by our own thinking. That this center is not restricted in any way except by our own thinking, or more to the point, by my own thinking. Since I'm the guy that you pay to kind of have a vision for this place. Now we like the fact that it's intimate. We like the fact that it's cozy, that we have our friends here, and at the same time, there's stuff afoot that we really need to step up in consciousness and know that we have new friends who are longing for a community just like this one. When I go to the convention, it's with a sense of pride, knowing that I represent a community that is committed to diversity, that is committed to honoring people without thinking about the color of their skin, their ethnicity, the denomination they may have come from, the country they may have come from, or even who they love. Right? That we see beyond the world of condition to see the divinity expressing itself as love between each other. Now maybe you're not aware of that because you're sitting out there. But we get to witness this from the platform. Right? We get to witness this from the platform with your gestures of gentleness and recognition and love. It really is quite inspiring, and it is the best seat in the house. All right? So there was something very dynamic going on in Salt Lake City this year, though, because as I said, I have a larger role. It's not a gigantic role, but it is a larger role because I'm not a big joiner in the big corporate things. Right? My background is from small business. I created my own little thing because I wasn't interested in playing in the big corporate field. Which I looking back on it now, before religious science, maybe I was kind of afeared, right? Afeared of what? Well, maybe I would have been successful at it. Who knows? But we'll never know now. But there was a limitation, a self-made limitation in that arena. And so now I'm being called forth, right, from the larger community and kind of pushed forward by my home community with encouragement. You know, it's not like this, right? But it is kind of like that. Get out there, boy. They need to hear your voice. And so it was an interesting dynamic. And so for those of you who don't know, this center is affiliated with an outfit called Centers for Spiritual Living, and it's based in Golden, Colorado. And this is a relatively new thing that happened in 2012. So having newly integrated into one organization 4 years ago that had two organizations with two budgets and different cultures to go with it, are now one new organization that we call Centers for Spiritual Living. And this new organization has been awash in red ink. Red ink. It was a question really whether or not it was going to be able to sustain itself and to hold this idea of integration together. Now, on reflection, I think that this new CSL organization may reflected what many of us in the outer world may have been experiencing in our own personal lives. So remember, it's 2012, but this is 4 years after 2008. So I think there's a reflection going on, even though the forces at work and driving these things may have been a little different. So what was once one organization under the direction of Ernest Holmes split in the 1950s when two organizations were formed, each going their own way with their own way of doing things. That's really what it was kind of about. It's a little fuzzy. Most of the players are now transitioned on to the next convention and the next big argument. Yeah, well, it's a little fuzzy and unclear as to what exactly happened. And I suppose really it's no longer important. What is important is that we are one again. And not only that, but this new organization, as one of its core principles, states right up that we are a teaching organization, and we are teaching one key thing. We teach oneness. The oneness of man with spirit and the oneness of spirit within man. That's the main thing. We are committed to teaching this in all of the various ways that we do that. Through Sunday service, through all of these little ministries that we have, through classes, through sponsoring people like Anton and Brian to come and share their gift of music. By sponsoring and holding the space for and supporting a music director who uplifts our community with his gift of music and the consciousness that goes with that. And there is a consciousness behind it. You'd be too humble to say it, but I know there is. And also the people who were drawn to that. So you see how it all works together. It all works together. And so we are part of something bigger that is seeing this vision globally. In fact, it's called a global vision. And so this year we are consciously participating in that global vision. Some 150 plus centers who ministers have volunteered to give talking points for 52 Sundays out of the year, of which I borrow some of them and mix it in, along with my report of Salt Lake City today. But this idea that we're trying to have a cohesive message through or as centers for spiritual living, uniquely individualized as each home center. So spirit expressing through the home organization and disseminated through the home centers. So, what was one organization, what was once two is now one again. And so like all families we have that have experienced a rift and then reconciled, it's taken time to sort things out. So we had these two organizations that had about $7 million between them. So they thought, well, we'll just build this organization about 7 million strong. Well, guess what? It was top heavy. Couldn't be sustained. And so each year positions were eliminated, which is tough, right? So there's families affected and so forth. And now we've got it trimmed down to about 4.8. So there's been a lot of drama, a little bit of political stuff, some distrust between these two parts, the Hatfields and McCoys, if you will, right? And yet at the same time, even within that seeming expression of discord, a commitment to oneness, the commitment to knowing that there's divine right action afoot, and to see people really hold the highest and best of the organization and of the teaching and of this global vision. Right, so Dr. Ken and Dr. John Waterhouse both took steep pay cuts. Positions were eliminated, so now it's been trimmed up. So we think we got it pretty trimmed up. So we'll see. We'll see. But what I do know for sure is that we are part of something big that has a much bigger idea than being an inward-focused organization obsessed with the activity of keeping its own little thing afloat. And we are, and that's reflecting where we have been at, right? Where we have been at. So I took over. We kind of had to be inward focused. How are we going to do this? What's this guy going to do? All of that. And now we're starting to, okay, we got a good strong base. We got a good strong foundation. People are buying into the vision. Now, how can we spread our message, right? One of them being through live streaming. So live streaming that hopefully, right, this North San Fernando Valley, so the idea is that we can reach people within 10 or 15 miles radius of this center who will then be encouraged to come and join us a time or two a month so that we can have the pleasure of their company in this realm rather than just the cyber realm. So we'll see. This may be the hybrid idea for church going forward, because it's not just all churches are experiencing downward trends in attendance. So it's not just the message, right? There's something else going on, right? And so what is called for then is a shift in consciousness, and in the shift in the way that we approach spiritual practice and our spirituality. A way that encourages us to use our spiritual practice to stretch. And so I'm stretching, right? So I was, it was given to me to, because the other folks, like, you know, you never want to ask too many questions when you're in an organization. So for the Business Improvement District here in Granada Hills, I showed up at a meeting and I was asking questions about what was going on at the corner thing there. And they said, oh, you know, you have a lot of great input. You should be a director. All those in favor? I'm not kidding. It went just like that. So I'm a director on the Business Improvement District here locally. And a similar thing happened for the Finance Committee because they were losing $700,000 one year. And I'm going, what the hell is going on? They're going through money faster than a drunken sailor on payday. So I started asking questions, looking at the balance sheet. Where's the money? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you know, Reverend Mike, you really kind of have a knack for this. You should be on the Finance Committee. So that's what happened. So I got to give a presentation. And better than that, I got to report that we are now in the black. Right? Yes. Little bit in the black, but it's $49,000 in the black. So we had a $700,000 turnaround in this past year. Yeah. So, yeah, that's consciousness. And that's really people getting serious about wanting to support this big idea of Centers for Spiritual Living. So, Centers for Spiritual Living publishes Signs of Mind magazine and supports the member centers. So the two of them working together to spread the good news of the Signs of Mind philosophy, which is basically there's a power for good in the universe available to everyone, regardless of whether or not you think you deserve it or not, whether or not you think you're holy enough, spiritual enough, or not enough in some way, available to everyone, including you, including me. And we can use it. And use it in a conscious way, because we're already doing it unconsciously, which is why we are often stuck in ways of living that are not as effective, maybe even stuck in mediocrity and futility. But we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay there. For lo that we go through the valley of the shadow of death, we don't have to pitch our tent there. Right? If we're stuck in a rut, we don't have to move in and furnish it. That we can move through it. Yeah, I know you've done it. I know I've done it. So I got to do this thing in front of I think it was 450 ministers. Right? So that's one, it puts a target on your back too, right? Where's the money going? Hey man, it's coming. So the other thing was that I actually presented a little workshop on how to get from 50 to 100 in church attendance. So because I thought that was important for us to know. So I was looking for some good ideas, presented myself as an expert and said, now, who would like to share? And the ideas start coming in. Yes, it's all consciousness, baby. And so what I know about that is that Granada Hills was well represented. And I took each one of you with me. That I am very aware that there is a law of circulation for good that we are engaged in here. Right? That whether you know it in conscious ways, your support flows, not by means of me, into this greater community. So we sponsored the music program for one night. And people said, tonight's music program sponsored by my friend, Reverend Mike McMorrow, and the Centers for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. And everybody went, yay! It was quite thrilling. Right? And having people from all over the country, all over the place, hey, I liked your workshop. I got something out of it. Right? Thanks for serving on the finance committee. Right? My co-presenter for the workshop was Juliet Vorster, who lives in Southampton, England. Yeah. So we're now international. I'm an international minister of mystery. So what does all this mean? That for transformation to take place, right, it needs to take place here within ourselves. And as we become willing and then step in to doing the work within ourselves, we draw to us like-minded people who support that idea of transformation. That we may not know exactly how to do it, right? That's what a vision is, right? A goal, you know where you're going and how you're going to get there. I'm going to do A, B, C, D. Maybe I can skip D. A vision is, I got this big idea. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know that it's a possibility. I know there's a greater truth to my life than this experience that I'm having right now. That's a vision. So our vision as Centers for Spiritual Living is creating a world that works for everyone. Well, how are we going to get there? Don't know. But we're knowing we are on the leading edge of spirituality through the use of consciousness. That for the first time, really in some time, at least in the Western world, that we are engaged in the practice, in spiritual practice, and engaging with it in a conscious way. Now that doesn't mean that every religion does not have within it that possibility. Right? We tend to think of the mystics being like, someone in India living on 5 beans a day on purpose. Right? I mean, there are people living on 5 beans a day. Right? But we have within the Christian and the Jewish tradition deep mysticism. But it kind of gets lost. And so we end up in Centers for Spiritual Living. Right? In a way, we're kind of the land of misfit toys. I'm just saying. We came from other denominations that no longer fit. Right? And we come into here and we go, wow, you know what? These people think like I do. Right? We don't have to have 2 separate things. It's not just science and religion. It can be one thing. It's not just God, sky God, and me, but God within me. How would I live my life if I was confident knowing that my word has power, that my desires have power, that my thinking has power, because it moves into a law of mind, which is an aspect of God's mind that's already expressing. And in that complete knowing that we are one with the Father is one with us, that we draw to us all that we need for complete transformation of our life as individuals, complete transformation as our life as a community, complete transformation as a city, as a state. That's why I do that whole offering thing. Look what's going on in the outer world of politics right now. Regardless of what you think about all that or which side, there's a wonderful conversation going on where people are expressing their deepest fears. And whatever is being revealed to be healed. So thank you, Donald Trump. Right? That's showing that, hey, you know what? Rudeness and ungentlemanly behavior and a complete disregard for demeanor is maybe not the way we want to have a conversation. Right? Thank you, Bernie Sanders, for pointing out that there is this gigantic left side that hasn't been expressed in a while, whether you agree with it or not. The conversation is completely different. Now we're getting somewhere. Consciousness. 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 We believe in the ultimate goal of life is the complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that is sure to be attained by all. This is what we believe. This is one of our declarations of principles. We are giving birth to the next great spiritual impulsion of the world, and for the first time in history, free from dogma, where it is, free from dogma, fear, as we are willing to release our attachment to that, superstition, and materialism, all that is built on ignorance and the denial of God. This is what we stand for. The universe in which we live is a spiritual system right now. Right now. Regardless of what we think about it. Regardless of how well we think we are a player in that system. We can change it. Right now, we can have another thought. In such degree as any of us bears witness in our mind to the divine fact, the tomb of old thinking is open, and the dead come forth, and we have a new, completely new experience that's been transformed. And that the transformation takes place here, right where we stand. It matters. It matters. Right here. That you don't have to wonder if it will take place out there. The world will come when enough of us see through the night into the celestial light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. So in every day, in every way, we're getting better and better. We are growing. We are growing. And although there may be a few rings, like the tree, but we are growing. We are growing. Gracefully. Right? Splendidly. With an awareness of spirit and knowing that with God, all things are possible. That's a pretty cool thing. So let's go within as Ken gets ready. I guess I got a little full of the Holy Ghost there because we ran a little bit long. So let's use what we have of this day, this beautiful day. Man, we got a lot of good stuff to work with today. It's warm, but not too warm. The air has the sweetness of the orange blossoms, right? The sweetness of life coming forth by means of the orange blossoms. The beautiful green hills of Granada Hills. The smiling faces of our beloved who have joined us here in spiritual community, and our beloved joining us online. It's a pretty amazing thing when you think about it. Yeah, that's right. So what can we do today? What can we do today to cultivate a sense of transformation in our own life? A sense of expansiveness in our own life? How can we open our mind, open our heart to a new way of living, to a new way of thinking? Even as cool as we are, right? Even recognizing, you know what, this is the best I've ever been. And life is good. What's calling me to be even greater? Take that power and that awareness into our heart and into our mind today. And take that into our week. And come back and report in, and let's see how we did.
Early each day by the steps of St. Paul's, the little old bird woman comes in her own special way to the people she calls. Come by my bags full of crumbs. Come feed the little birds, show them you care, and you'll be glad if you do, yeah. The young ones are hungry, their nests are so bare, and all it takes is tuppence from you. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. Feed the birds, that's what she cries, while overhead her birds fill the skies. All around the cathedral, the saints and the apostles look down as she sells her wares. Although you can't see it, you know they are smiling each time someone shows he cares. Though her words are simple and few, listen, listen, she's calling to you. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. Tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag.
Yeah, no more tuppence. It's all euros now. And I remember tuppence when I was a kid, yeah, and farthings. So, as we prepare our tuppences multiplied abundantly for the offering, Ken will take us in.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So going within, recognizing the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows, the oneness of God expressing as the law of circulation. So from the generous heart of the individual who's presented these gifts, whether in coin or in spirit here this morning, we know together then that we receive these gifts with deep appreciation, love, and respect as we know together these gifts go forward to heal, to prosper, and to bless. The intention of each person here this morning and anyone connected to this center in any way. That we know this blessing includes our friends here in the community of Granada Hills, our city of California, and all of the Oscar participants and the crazy carrying on going on down there today, that we know it's all unfolding perfectly for our state of California, our united United States of America, that our planet as well, that we know all of it, is a joyful expression of the universal mind of God. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our heart. We feel the grace of God, and we step into the possibility of spiritual living one moment, one day at a time. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank our usherettes this morning. Lovely Rita. Oh gosh, blank.
Rita.
Blank. Oh my God. It's my biggest fear that I will do that, and I just did. Kathy Chappell. Yes, please, let's give her some love. Thank you, Kathy. I hope I'm sufficiently crimson. All right. So, kids, how are we doing? Are you going to share for us today, Isis? Oh, please, come on. Let us see your lovely self. Come on. Come on up here, please. Come on up here. You got good coach down. So tell me your name first.
My name's Isis. And today we did some mandalas. They start off with like, it looks like a pie, and then there's like dots everywhere, and then you connect it. But this is mine. There's like different ones. So.
Thank you very much. Nice job there. All right. And then, did we have any little ones today? Okay. So quickly, because I talked too long today.
Happiness to be happiness to be shared, and my mom read a book, and we choose to be more joyful.
All right, cool. Us too. All right, so thank you. Let's thank Ken one more time.
Thanks.
All of our volunteers who volunteer here in any way. We'll call our practitioners and ministers, invite them to circle the room as we pray out. Invite Reverend Jessica to do so. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next week.
All right. So looking around the room at the practitioners and just feeling that we're in this field of love, that we have established and awakened and became aware of this field of love that we are in. Regardless of whether or not we do remember it or not, we are in this love. And I know that as we go forth today, that we know that because we are one, that we can take any of these issues that we may have in our lives, whether it has a negative 750,000, 100,000 in the red, and we can take it to a positive in the black 49,000. All of our issues can be that simple to know that we are going for our highest good, that this service anchors us in our highest good, in this one life of God, that whatever issue we're facing, we're in the black, we're in the love, it's all good and very good. So our heart fills with gratitude. And we take that gratitude and we send it out in all 6 directions, up and down, north, south, east, west. And it comes back to us 1,000-fold. So we can just let it be and affirm by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Please stand for the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Yes. Yeah, this one is an acoustic guitar.
Acoustic.
Yeah.
But it's also plug-in.
Yeah, it just so
Because
that.
the resonance was so beautiful.
Well, thank you. I normally use a steel string, and this one is a nylon string. It's kind of like a classical guitar, so you have to play it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
And
because,
I like it.
I like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Beautiful sound.
Thank you.
Just carrying it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and that was Mary Poppins. So I love Mary Poppins. So thank you very much. Hey, dude. How's it going, man? Nice to see you.
I agree. It's been a while, and I miss the place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen you in a bit.
Yeah, no, it's what. Listen, it's kind of cool. I decided to go back to college.